So thank you all for joining today for another session. I'm super excited to introduce Comodule CEO and co-founder, Kristjan Maruste, who's going to outline sort of the company's journey from this leading IoT firm to a more vertically integrated vehicle manufacturer. And we're going to be taking a few questions towards the end, if time permits. So please do drop any questions in the chat, and we'll be sure to get to them. So yeah, without further ado, over to you, Kristjan, and we'll see you towards the end.
Cool. Thank you, and hi, everybody. I'm Kristjan. I'm Kristjan. I actually did first time in my life, I put a weird picture of myself onto the first slide. And I think that's because all of those online conferences get so impersonal. So now you just actually see how I look when I'm standing up. So I'm a husband, I'm a father of two maniacs, mechatronics engineer by education, and an electric race car engineer and pilot. So the last one is interesting because Comodule actually got started building electric racing cars. And we did that in university, and we became really, really good at it. So we became top 3 team in the world. But we understand that, while riding around in circles is fun, it really doesn't solve the problems humans are facing. So transportation, as you all know, is the main driver of emissions. And if you look more closely, also understand that most trips are short. So you have to end up with bikes. I think everybody here knows that, but maybe how we differentiate is that we already started in 2014. So that was a long time ago. And when we started Comodule, nobody called bikes a micromobility. So a lot of things have happened, and we've really seen how the industry has grown. But we've always had the same goal, and that is bringing, bicycles, scooters, and everything else from the past to the modern age by connecting them. And if you connect these vehicles, I think there's 2 main things you can achieve. One is better security, so you fight theft, and the other one is you create more business opportunities, a new business model. So over the years, we have worked with vehicle manufacturers and fleet operators, enabling them to connect their vehicles. Our product is capable to work with everything smaller than a car. It attaches to a vehicle. It's an electronics unit that gathers data, packs it data, and sends it securely to our server, where we then make it available to our customers. Sometimes we also add the extra layer of visual software, whether it's an end user app or whether it's a data analysis platform. Sometimes it's done by the customer, but our really key job is to move the data. And our responsibility is to move it in a secure and robust way. This is why we just never only sell electronics, but it's our job to make sure that everything works. And this is why what we do, we call it connectivity as a service. And we've been doing this now for the 6 years, and it's been super interesting to see how the industry has been evolving. In this time, we've gotten some cool customers like Europe's biggest e-bike company, PON. Jump used to connect all of their scooters with our IoTs all around the world. That was a very cool project. Super 73 that you all saw, I think, yesterday or even the day before. A super cool customer, and they also talked a lot about why connectivity is important to them, how it defines the user experience. Happy to work with them. But it doesn't only end with bikes. So this is a very cool electric motorcycle coming in from Sweden. That is also one of our customers. And this is one of the newest projects. We have Amazon calculating their estimated time of arrivals in New York based on the data we send to them from the vehicles delivering goods and services in New York City. So, connectivity, as I said before, is there to give a better user experience for the end consumer, but it's also there to actually build new business models like this one here. So we've gotten quite far. We've connected more than 350,000 vehicles up to now, and we consider ourselves as global leaders in what we do. But I'll talk a little bit how we got here and where we're going. So how we got here was that, I should tell you that it didn't happen in a blink. It has taken 6 years and a lot of hard work, and that's all true. But the real growth actually really happened in a blink. So You all know when Bird came out and Line came out and this all hell broke loose. I call it the gold rush. When Bird had launched in US, I heard something's going on. I jumped on a plane, flew to Santa Monica, and I remember coming out from an Uber, and then in my first 4 minutes in the beach, I saw like a 14-year-old and a 70-year-old and everything in between on these scooters, and I knew that's going to be big. So I tried 3 days to get into Bird, front door, back door, 50 LinkedIn intros, and a lot of people in front, and I never managed. So finally what I did was that I sat in a very hipster coffee shop for 4 hours hoping that somebody comes for lunch. And then I had nicked one of Bird IoT modules and our IoT module and put them on the table and waited for somebody to recognize or notice, but they didn't. So I flew back to San Francisco without ever getting Bird as our customers. Greetings if somebody from Bird is listening to us. But what is a good thing was that when everybody wants to be Bird, they need IoT. And at that moment, we were the only one in the world that could help them. And it was a very crazy time when nobody cared about how much things cost. They just wanted something now. And how we got from doing a couple of thousand units a year into being in contracts worth $50 million, and it just really intensified. It was very cool times. So Elon Musk has called something a production hell. So we were exactly in this production hell. The good thing was that we've never produced in Asia. So we always produced, in Estonia with some contractors close to us, but it was still very intense and it grew 120 times in 5 months. But the problem was that we could have grown even faster, but we couldn't control our production. So already then what we did was that we decided to build our own factory. So we built our own hardware factory, an actual SMA line. A lot of people think all of electronics is built in Asia. It's not really. It's also built here in Estonia. And the cool part was that we did it also so quickly to match the demand that we hadn't hired any people to program the machines by the time we already had the line up. So all the first boards were actually programmed by myself because there was nobody else to do that work for us. But what happened was that we were having a blast, but we always knew that it's completely stupid to have a scooter and then have an IoT module outside of that scooter. It doesn't make sense. It has to be integrated. And we knew that the only way forward is integrating IoT. So what we did was we flew to the Chinese scooter manufacturing companies and we said, hey guys, let's work together. Very quickly we understood that although they said that, yes, let's work together, then whenever things got serious, they were trying everything they could to get rid of us and sell their own technology. So we understood that if we want to stay in this market, there's no way we can just sell IoT. So we were like, hey, we got to climb up or down in the value chain. Otherwise, this industry will not work for us anymore. So we had a choice whether we become an operator. We had learned a few from other operators, or we became a vehicle manufacturer. And because more people told us it's a bad idea to become a vehicle manufacturer, and because we used to build electric racing cars, we were like, heck it, of course we're going to become a vehicle manufacturer company. So then we looked at this sector a little bit, and I can bring you an example that around half of the bikes sold in Europe are produced in Europe. So it's around 2 million bikes are produced in Europe. At the same time, there's 0 electric scooters produced in Europe. So, if you look at this, it just doesn't make sense. So we had learned a lot, and then we kind of looked at what were the problems of scooters. I think you all know that they didn't last, but they were also very unsustainably made. They were made far off using new materials or materials using dirty energy to make these vehicles, and they had very short lifetimes. So if you wanted to run like a 5-year service, you needed 3 scooters in this time. Things have gotten much better by now, you all know that. They were operated not in a very sustainable way, and I think the worst thing that they actually just broke in half. They're really unsafe to ride. So we set ourselves out to build a better vehicle, and that's one of the pictures of what we did. We call it Co-Scooter, so it's a scooter from Co-Module. And I'll just flick through some of the important things we wanted to achieve with this vehicle. So first of all, we really wanted to build it durable. We consulted with a lot of sustainability people, and everybody told us that it's not about the materials or recyclability, it's about the lifetime. So we really set our goals very high to build a very strong and long-lasting vehicle. And it comes very much down to also serviceability and the fact that if you could change things that wear out and keep the mainframe going. We also really wanted to produce it locally, so it doesn't make sense to assemble something in Europe but buy all the parts from China. So we are actually controlling all of our supply chain, and almost 3/4 of our stuff comes from 3 days from our factory. So super close, everything in Europe. And most of that 27% is actually battery cells coming from Singapore. So we are controlling our supply chain. It's all local, and we're really not affected by what happens on the world scene too much. And we also set our goal to build a really sustainable vehicle. And that already came down to what's the materials we use. So for example, the aluminum we use is the cleanest aluminum in the world because it's made of as much recycled content as possible, and it's made in Sweden using only hydro energy. You know, if you use aluminum, then most of the aluminum in China is actually made using coal. So exactly the same material can have like 70 times difference in the carbon output. So this is how far we really went into understanding what needs to be done. Finally, we also looked at how it is to operate it sustainably. Like, can you use different vehicles to swap the batteries and so on. And safety. So we basically benchmarked our scooter against everything else on the market. We used third-party testers to validate different things. You know, the best one to visualize is braking distance that we put here. But it also comes down a lot to kind of ergonomics and rideability. So our scooter is the only one that you can really ride hands-free once you're up to speed. So I haven't seen anybody else achieving that. So what's the next phase is that we built that scooter, and we realized that we built the best scooter in the world, but you know, nobody really believed it, and we need to prove it to ourselves as well. So what we did was that we decided to run it ourselves in a live sharing fleet. So we put 500 scooters in the streets of Tallinn in this spring, and now I've been riding them and driving them around for the whole year, and they're still out there. People are still riding them, although we have a lot of snow outside. And we proved to ourselves that yes, they last. You know, people really like them. We got direct feedback, and you know, from the engineering point of view, why this is super exciting is that you're building a testing ground from your tech. You know, you do a change as an engineer, you build it up in your own factory, you just put it outside to rental. And then you're constantly seeing what's happening with them. You know, you start thinking, you know, what really happens if scooters are on top of the trees. We built the scooter so waterproof that we have brought out all of the scooters that have been dropped to the water, whether it's a sea or a river. We brought them out with divers, and we clean them up and we dry them up and they run. You know, so basically we don't even have to maintenance them. So these are the goals that we wanted to check, and it's been super exciting to do that. And it's this super interesting testing ground for engineers. And it's not just for summer. So this is pictures from last week in Estonia. So I wanted to do a couple of pictures to show you how it is to ride a scooter on the snow. And it also affects a lot of stuff. You know, like your IoT batteries get empty, you can't charge lithium batteries. A lot of stuff you learn and how you change your firmware and code. And this is a very beautiful picture of 2 scooters making love in snow. So finally, you know, what we believe where the world is going is to vertical integration. It's designing close to the market, it's de-risking your supply chain, not putting all eggs in one basket, having products that are connected first, and in-house production and all key components. So this is what we've done. We're very happy with it, and we're also happy that we've really tested it through. And yeah, and you know, finally, it's just not a scooter. We have a bike coming up as well. So, and then I have a beautiful final picture for micromobility event organizers, because I think it's an absolutely great event. And what you guys have done, bringing this industry together, is super exciting. So we made you a screensaver that you could use for future events. So yeah, thank you everybody. What I want to just point out that if you want to collaborate with us, whether it's on IoT side or whether it's using these vehicles to operate your own fleets, of course, reach out and let us know.
Amazing. Thank you, Kristjan.